Hey, I'm here with Sofia Todisco. I'm so excited for this episode of Get Real and Own Person podcast. I'm Megan Morris Gerzon, and today I have a dear friend that I haven't actually seen in a while, but I'm so happy we can reconnect here. And she runs Flowers Pasta and Bake Shop, and I'm so excited to highlight this career path and all the awesome things you're doing, all the delicious food you're making. So you can introduce yourself and kind of highlight what you do and why you're excited about it.
Amazing. Thanks, Megan. It feels so good doing this and seeing you and reconnecting and just, yeah, thank you for having me. And I'm very honored to just talk about flowers and my whole journey and all of that stuff because it means something to me and hopefully someone else. But yeah, so my name is Sofia Todisco and I own Flowers Pasta and Bake Shop. It's a cafe slash food space in Haverstraw, New York, in Rockland County. And we've been open for about 2.5 years now.
Wow. Goes by
And
fast.
yeah, it's crazy. I can't even get over it. We're
Yeah.
right now running into our third holiday season, which is just like
Wow.
impressive and feels good. And there's like a sense of calm about it because it's not one or two. So that's
Mhm.
cool. And yeah, so the shop's been open. And it's interesting because we kind of have a unique format where our shop is really only open a couple days a week. And on our off days, we are at a bunch of farmers markets in the area, in Rockland County, Westchester County, Dutchess County, basically all throughout the Hudson Valley, lower Hudson Valley area. Yeah, and then also we do cooking classes and
Right.
fun events at the shop, pop-ups and everything. So we use this space as a cafe, but also as a production kitchen, as an event space. And we've really kind of like melded into something that's a little honestly unusual, it kind of takes some people, I think, a minute to, like, wrap their head around. There's a little, like, extra communicating to explain what we're doing and how we kind of pivot with the times, and
Mhm.
basically, that's how everything started anyway, because it was
Right.
during the COVID time, so it was just, like, it was forever a pivot, and it kind of just, like, forever, I feel like, is one just because food and beverage is just so unpredictable and unstables that like I personally just think if you're not in the position or headspace to be able to pivot, then like honestly the industry might move on without you. If
Mhm.
I'm gonna be totally blunt.
Yeah.
But like
No,
it's
that's
just
so true.
interesting seeing it from like I still like even though we've been in this for 5-ish years, um, uh, from like not before the brick and mortar, but having the business and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I still see myself as like young and fresh eyes versus compared to some of these other people who have been in business for like 20 plus years who are
Right.
just like tired and don't want to pivot. And you just see the difference in everything, honestly. I think customers do too, actually. Um,
Yeah, that's a really good point how this is still fairly fresh for you, and do you think that's why you're so willing to just continue pivoting? And I wanna actually
Sorry, I
focus
gave such
on.
a broad such a broad overview.
No, there's so much to dive into. But I'll start with when you started around the COVID times and you had this vision, maybe not the full vision of what it is now. How did you start developing that business plan? Because I know you started at the farmers markets, right, for a while before the
Mhm.
brick and mortar, and compared to what it is today and how you're continually shifting what you're offering, like events and classes, how did you get there? Did that vision exist initially, or has it just been shifting and evolving?
Um, it's kind of interesting because where we're at right now, is very much what I wanted 6 years ago. I mean,
Oh, that's awesome.
in a broad stroke kind of way, like getting here was not what I expected, and I couldn't have like explained the paths that that I've taken from these last 5 years, and how it went from, living in Brooklyn, working in a cafe and doing recipe developing in 2019 to living upstate and having a cafe that I manage, and just being a small business owner. It was like
Yeah.
it was what I wanted, but I just didn't think that this was how I was going to get there, I guess.
Hmm.
But it's so crazy because part of it is that, I mean, for a really, really long time, I'm sure you even might have, I probably have mentioned this even when we were in college together and stuff like that, but like I've always wanted like a community space surrounded
Yeah.
by food. Um, I went to school for PR. It wasn't for, I did not go to culinary school. So it was something that like existed in maybe just like a way of, maybe I'm front of house managing, or maybe I'm involved in a restaurant in some way or involved in food in some way, but I didn't know that it would be so it became so much of my identity, I guess. And
Hmm.
it is just really cool because, with COVID happening, um, I was working as a recipe developer, doing cooking classes in Brooklyn, and working at two different catering businesses, and
It's a lot.
all of what, yeah, it was a lot. Juggling
Yeah.
four part-time jobs was, I only did it for a certain amount of time because it was just like, that was way wild.
Yeah.
Um, but it happened. It was fine, and
Yeah.
then it all honestly was just taken away in March of 2020,
Oh yeah.
because, as we all know, and, food and just like catering, parties, all of that was obviously the first to go. And it was interesting because it was that time frame of having off where I was like, well, this is probably a good time to like really see, in the time when everything was shut down, so many of my friends and family were pregnant, or my grandma was still alive, so I was going grocery shopping and cooking for her.
Oh yeah.
So and like, and a lot, everyone was pregnant, everyone, so no one wanted
Yeah.
to go to the grocery store, so I was like, that's fine, like what am I doing? I'll go. And, and I started making these meals, essentially, these delivery
Hmm.
meals once a week, delivering them to people during COVID, dropping them off at their steps.
Yeah.
In there was a pasta box, a pasta kit. And it was a pound of fresh pasta, a sauce, seasonally rotating, and like some toppings. And it always changed every week. And that was just like such a hit, and it just like, it was so obvious that people were most excited about that part of this meal delivery.
Hmm.
And I mean, so much so that I am hand making pounds of pasta and like not expecting it. My hands started getting all like sore and swollen. I was just like,
Wow.
wow, this is crazy.
Like you
Like,
like
I
ice
was,
your hands every day.
yeah, I was like, this orchetti is killing me. Like, it was so nuts.
That's commitment
Um,
though.
it was, yeah, I know. Like, doesn't everyone say that? And so it was just really interesting. So I was like, oh my God, this could be something. And it was at
Yeah.
that same time when farmers markets started reopening, and each state has different laws about prepping food and what you can do in your home versus what you need to be doing in a commercial kitchen. And
Mhm.
I was living in Jersey at the time, and they had stricter, they're called cottage laws,
Mhm.
stricter cottage laws than New York State, and actually a lot of other states around, shocker. So I had to work out of a commercial kitchen, which honestly ended up being something that benefited me greatly because, one, I was able to really start budgeting rent and utilities and storage and all of those types of fees that you just, all the overhead that you don't even think about when you're working out of your own home.
Right.
And Also, it gave me the space to purchase a pot, like a commercial pasta machine, and I had a place to store it. And that at least gave me the ability to sell at farmers markets because I
Mhm.
mean, what I'm not gonna make pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds of pasta completely by hand. It was just not
Right.
it was too time consuming. The profit margins made there weren't any, so it didn't make any sense.
Mhm.
So I was like, "You know what? Let's buy a pasta machine. Let's see what happens." It was the smallest model, and, I'm gonna sign up for a farmer's market. And then, and this was under Sophia's Feast, which was
I
our
remember Sophia's
first.
feast.
Yeah, it was funny because I started the LLC in January 2020 to be an event company. Like I
Oh,
didn't
right.
have enough going on with 4 other jobs, but anyway, that's besides the
Right.
point.
Start a company.
That's fine, yeah. So that's kind of why it was, like, all very it all just took place, like, the timing was so perfect, and it's not, like, there's always, like, a silver lining story when it comes to COVID and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and, like, me, this was that. And because the lineup of everything, you couldn't make that up, like, I you literally would never be able to make that up before there was even a talk of a pandemic, you know? And, who would have been like, "Oh, I think a pandemic's gonna happen, and that's how you're gonna start your pasta business?" Like, "What?
Yeah,
That
you can
that"
never predict how things will fall into place, and that's just you made the best out of the situation, it worked in your favor, which is amazing, and I just wanna pause and focus on the fact that you were hand making pasta and you started kind of with the pasta focus that really took off. Um, and I mean, when I went to school with you, I met you and went to school with you, I always knew, I mean, we both share the love of food, but you had that true passion about, the ingredients, and we just always greatly enjoyed food together since
so much, yeah.
college. So much, sleepovers and things like that. Um, and I know you spoke of your grandma, your nonna. So did you learn to make pasta with her back when you were a child? Like, how did this love of food turn into what you wanted to shift away from in terms of, the communications degree and go into something that actually meant something to you and building that community through food?
So, I actually, my grandma, my non it's funny because I would always call her Nani, even though that means grandparents, but, like, I was
Yeah,
the oldest, and that's what I was able to say, so it was Nani to me, and everyone along the way was like, that means grandparents?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, it stuck."
she's still
Um,
nice.
uh, yeah, she's Nani, but,
Yeah.
yeah, we do have a Nana's ragu on the menu,
Oh,
and it's her sauce, and it's really sweet because, like, it's our most popular sauce and everything, and, like she passed 2 years ago, but yeah, like you said, like, she was just, like, my ride or die, and, it just feels so powerful, the fact that, like, hundreds of people, honestly, thousands of people have bought her sauce and know her
ugh,
sauce, and it's just like,
I have
oh,
chills.
it's such a great feeling, yeah, and it's just like
Like
and
her
it's so
legacy.
personal. Yeah, it really is, and she, like, she's up there being like, "This is crazy, like, this is nothing to do about me, but, like, it has everything to do about her," kinda thing.
Yeah.
And she actually, aside from this sauce and, like, roast chicken, she actually didn't cook that much, which is
Oh.
crazy. Her mom made all of the pasta for her and my mom and my uncles growing up and everything like that, and then my grandma made sauce but my mom, she's a pediatrician, but, like, her true passion is cooking and food but just,
Yeah.
like, the very Italian style of just, like, simplicity and, really focusing I mean, my mom was the one that really honed in, the style of cooking that I do today, and
Okay.
honestly, that I even just, like, consume because from a baby, I was eating, like, vegetables. I would never be allowed to drink juice or, like,
Ooh, okay.
like, fluff.
Homemade.
Oh my god, peanut butter and fluff sandwiches on Wonder Bread was something that was, like, I begged my mom for because everyone around had it, and I was just like, "It's not fair," but, like, my mom was making, like, just food completely from scratch, and it just
Okay.
seemed
So this makes
so
sense.
natural. Yeah,
Mhm.
like, it didn't even seem like it was anything that like, there was no thought behind it, it was just like it was part of our diet, and also,
Yeah.
on the flip side, I mean, it also kind of she was someone who you have dinner at the table with your family, you sit there and, you even if it's 20 minutes, like, you're there together, and then you clean up your dishes and you go do your homework or whatever.
Mhm.
But like the whole practice became of like sitting down for dinner and just like conversing over a meal. It was very ritual at that point for us.
Yeah.
Like it was just like it was part of our everyday. And I think that mentality really just like became a part of me, and I didn't even realize that it was something that was so ingrained because I just thought it was so natural.
Yeah.
And I think that at least like with the shop and stuff, that's truly like the feeling that I want people to feel when they walk in here.
Mhm.
Um it's really sweet actually because, when we were signing the lease on this place, I'm here right now, by the way. So this is the shop behind me and all that kind of stuff. So I'm talking about it. I'm here. I'm at the shop. So
We have a visual, yes.
just so you know, yeah, I'm like, this is that. But it was really just the timing was wild because when I was signing the lease on the shop, my grandma's house, we were putting it up for sale. And she had, like, I mean, I grew up basically at her house, so like all of her things had memories to me.
Yeah.
And my mom, and there was, it was also bittersweet. She was still my grandma was still alive at the time, so she was able to like divvy out things how she wanted, but there left a ton of beautiful things that just no one had room for
Ooh.
until I signed the lease to this very large shop. And I was like, "Okay, I'll take your dining room table. I'll take
Yeah.
all your chairs." I took, like, a credenza that now I use as a milk and service station for people to,
Wow.
fix up their coffee. All of not all, but, like, most of the art on the walls is from her home. So
Wow.
it's just like, this place is so much of, like, my upbringing, and I just, like, I
Ugh.
really think that I want people to feel that, and just from conversations and people telling me, like, I know people feel that when they come in here too, and it just like, ugh, it just makes me feel really good.
I just have like I keep getting chills when you're talking about how your mom and your nonna and like their presence is in the shop and
Yeah,
you know nostalgic, it's meaningful, it's comforting, and that's what you intended all along for people to feel in whatever you're offering, whether it's food, an experience. That's just a really beautiful thing that you get to share that with people. So
thanks.
congratulations, that's so cool,
Thank
and
you. I'm
I
especially proud of
definitely
it.
will be coming and sitting in this shop and experiencing it because 'cause I'm sure it's just a feeling more than something you can describe. Um,
Yeah, I think so, and thank you. Yeah, I'm really proud of it all, and it feels good too. So, and
and
like
so
that's not even talking about like the food and how good it is, and like and the types of flowers and all of that stuff. Like that's a whole different element, but it's just like I'm so happy that it's I j I'm just so happy it's not like a sterile store that you just, like,
yeah.
can't grab a feeling or a personality towards, and, like, that and to be fair, we are in, like, such a historic town. Havistraw is, like, it built all of the bricks in for all of Lower Manhattan during the late 1800s to
Oh, that's so
1900s. Like,
cool.
there is places oozing with history. Our building used to be the, old Rockland County Times newspaper press, and so, like, down in our basement, there's pulleys from where, like, horses were walking in circles to, like, have the printing press go and stuff
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh.
Yeah, it's like this building was built in 1886. So,
Wow.
like, I'm bringing in my history, but, like, it already has so much history, you know what I mean? And,
Yeah,
like,
it's
it's
just a
so
historic
cool.
location.
Yeah, it's awesome.
How did you find the space? And so, can you kind of walk me through when you decided you were gonna do brick and mortar, when you were looking for the space, and then, you have a business partner, correct? And now your new husband, congratulations, is working with you. So can you walk through how you kind of got to that point where you created this physical space together?
Yes. It was in the end of 2022. Um, I was doing farmers markets and I was working out of that ghost kitchen. And actually, I was it's a lot of schlepping when you are renting kitchen space and working out of
Yeah.
a ghost kitchen,
I
and it
imagine.
got to a point where I was bringing, like, 50-pound bags of flour to and from my house to the kitchen because I couldn't store the flour. Long story, couldn't store this flour there, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And, I was unloading my car one day, and a 50-pound bag of flour got nicked by the seatbelt of one of my, backseat chair one of the passenger seats, and the bag ripped, and there was flour
No.
everywhere, and it was during the
In your
holidays,
car?
in my car, on me,
No.
all over the sidewalk, and it was during the holidays, and it was chilly out, and the wind came, and it just, like it
It's like
was the
you're on candid camera, like, is this a sick joke?
what the heck is happening? And I was so sleep deprived, and I was like, "You know
Ugh.
what? I'm done. I'm
Yep,
done." This was that,
that
like,
was the moment.
I was already, like, thinking about it, talking about it, kind of just, like, putting it out there, but then this flower incident was truly the thing I needed, the push to be like, "You're not doing this anymore. Like,
Flower to
this is
flowers.
not viable." Yeah, like, you are not okay right now.
Oh gosh.
I was like, let's start looking for spaces."
Yeah.
And, I mean, the whole thought of that was it was so terrifying. It's just like there's just a lot of things on the list that you have to check off. There's a lot of contracts, legalities, leases, managements, just
Yeah,
like
so
everything
much.
and everything, like gas lines, vents, hoods, all HVAC, like all these things that I heard before, but I'm like, I couldn't even put them in a sentence if I even tried, you know? Like, I just don't
Same.
understand contracting. Yeah. And I was like, and it's not like I'm gonna sit here pretending I did. Luckily, Alex, my husband, he has worked in construction for, like, most of his life,
Oh,
so
that's
it
helpful.
was very helpful having him around for the whole
Nice.
process of looking at spaces and stuff. And, this whole looking for spaces took, oh man, it was over a year we were looking, and
Okay.
it was tough. Rent was just it was very expensive, or, we're looking at spaces that are just four walls and we have to build out a whole kitchen. It was a lot. And and it was really scary because it was just like, I hope this works, it was just a lot to put in and a lot of energy. And we also, like, I stopped producing and being at markets. This was like my full-time job for almost a year.
Yeah.
And I had a business partner at the time who was also helping in the process, and which was really great because it was just
Mhm.
like another person to kind of just bounce things off of. Someone else could go look at a space while the other one was doing something else. So that was good. And initially we really wanted to stay. Havistraw wasn't on our radar. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
It was
Were
we
you
were
still in
looking.
Brooklyn?
No, I was in Rockland, but I was in, like, Lower Rockland and Westchester specifically.
Okay.
So we were looking at Westchester, Lower Rockland, and, 'cause that's really where all of our farmers markets were, that's where our audience was, but it was too expensive. So, I kept kind of just like broadening our radius. And finally, I saw a space up here and I was like, Havistraw, I know nothing about this town. Like, let's go check it out. And it's a beautiful town. It's working through, problems and kind of modernizing, and there's a fair amount of empty storefronts here. We're trying to, like, revitalize the village.
Okay.
But it's a stunning, like I said, there's so much history. It's right on the water. There's a ferry that connects it to Westchester.
Oh, perfect.
And the space itself, I would never be able to get something this large in any of the other places that I was looking.
Mm.
So, and it came with a walk-in refrigerator. So all of
Perfect.
those
Sold.
things, I was like, "This is great. We're doing it." It needed some
Yeah.
work, but it was something that I thought was manageable,
Mhm.
and it was. And so we had about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks to kind of flip this place. Um,
Okay.
and it was a restaurant prior to us signing off. However, she it was like basically completely abandoned for like 8 months. She closed.
Okay.
They couldn't find rent. And it was kind of a mess. Like there was just like food everywhere. It was nasty.
Okay.
Um but we were able to clean it up and yeah, and while we got the certification where we can start working in the kitchen, but the front of house wasn't ready to open. So we were back at our farmers markets and really just like promoting the shop and everything like that,
At the markets.
at the markets, yeah,
Okay,
so
that's
that was,
nice.
like, a nice yeah, it was, like I mean, our farmers markets, it's crazy because there there's so many, variables to it, like the weather,
Yeah.
if there's other festivals going on, maybe the farmers market isn't gonna be as busy, but for us, at this moment, um, the farmers markets are our bread and butter, and that
Nice.
is our constant, and the shop is our secondary, which is
Interesting.
yeah, it is interesting, and I think that's something that people are like, "What?" Like, very taken aback by at first. So,
That's great
getting
though.
back out to the farmers markets was, like, so important. We were like, "We gotta get back out there. We gotta keep talking about it." When we were signing off on a lease, um we had, gotten a Kickstarter campaign started actually, and, we hit our limit. We got our funds. It was
Nice.
amazing, and it was all from our farmers market customers. So,
Oh,
it was
okay. So you had some
just yeah.
loyal customers.
So much so. I mean, these people have been around since 2020 when I started Sophia's Feast. So like they
Yeah.
are the ride or dies, and then the people that are being introduced to us through the shop, they're our new customers, and and they're repeat and everything like that. But they are still like learning our ways and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so and um and yeah, and so yeah, that was basically it was really nice because Alex and I really were able to do most of the construction and the design and like I was stripping this bar and like laying tile, like stuff that I never thought I would be able to
Doing
do and I was
everything by hand, not only the food, but just
yeah, like
everything
the
you and
whole
Alex have
place.
done together
It's
by
so
hand.
true. It's really cool. And it just like makes you appreciate everything that's also like in the store and like the cost of everything is just so much greater than like the public even can like wrap their head around that like it just puts it just puts things in a different perspective.
Totally.
But it's great, and yeah, and, like and people are, like, catching on, us being in our 3rd year, it feels really just, like, good, and people trust us, I know we haven't even gotten into, like, the food element of it all, but, like, we're called flowers for a reason. We have 15 types of flowers in-house from, our double zero, our semolinas, which are the normal flowers for pasta making, but then we also, um I've been doing this since Sophia's Feast, but we've been lacing whole grain flours into our pastas to kind of like normalize the alt grains, like
Mhm.
einkorn, spelt, rye, all of these things that are just better for us and easier for us to digest and kind of just making it so that these kids that come in here aren't weirded out by whole wheat or brown pasta, and in fact, it's like, "Oh my god, the shape of this pasta is so cool, and it's made with a whole grain." Like, it's just like a
Perfect.
perspective shift that, like that's really, important. So that was the reason why we called, flowers, flowers.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so, like, it's just really cool that people now are starting to catch on to the whole just like concept that we're trying to push here of just like better quality. Even our double zero and our semolina flour that we use for pasta, it's imported directly from Italy, so there's no pesticides sprayed on
Oh,
anything.
that's
It's a
awesome.
cleaner process of harvesting wheat over there, and so people who have any sort of gluten sensitivities or they think they're allergic, not someone who's tested with celiac, but someone who has sensitivities, or intolerances, they can eat our pasta, like, no problem, no reaction, no
That's
nothing.
amazing.
It's so cool, and, like
Yeah.
and the fact that, like, I thought that was the case, but then when we started giving it out to people and that was always the reception that we got, it was just like, it's so important, like, what we're like, and it feels just really great because these people are even, people who have diabetes, their blood sugar won't spike
Yes.
with
That
our pasta.
that is just so huge. I mean, my dad had diabetes. I understand how difficult it is, and people sometimes you just need comfort food like pasta, and just to be able to have access to the high quality, healthier version of that that's handcrafted in such a unique way, and you said you offer it to kids as well, right? You have kids menus and introducing different types of pastas that are actually healthy to kids. Like, I want my son to try that.
Exactly.
Um, that's
Yeah,
just so huge because not only is it for your health, but it's to ensure that people have that comforting experience and no one
exactly.
is left out. And you were saying you're now in year 3, you're kind of feeling a different feeling than you did the first couple of
Mm,
years. And I think it sounds like you've over time been able to develop those relationships. Like you had like you said, the ride or dies from the farmer's market, understood and were totally bought into your concept. But now you have your repeat customers in the shop that
mm.
are understanding how, how special it is to have this type of not only food, but experience. So I think that's probably that positive feeling you're experiencing
Yeah.
is that the relationships are forming and that community is building. Um, and I'm just curious if there have been specific moments, whether it was recently or when you started a couple years ago, that stand out to you where you feel like you did actually make a difference in an individual's life. Like you were saying, people with diabetes or celiacs. Anything that stands out where you're like, "Oh, I actually feel so good about that experience between an individual."
So that with the mention of people being able to eat our product while pregnant, with just gestational diabetes,
Oh,
or
yeah.
even I mean it happens, I would say, once a week, like someone comes up to us saying how great of experience they had eating our food, and how typically, it happens often, and it feels so good that it's not all talk, honestly.
Yeah.
And I mean, this was a exceptionally touching experience that actually happened on Sunday. And it is kind of relevant to what we're talking about with food and flour and stuff, but it also was just um it really is just like shines light on like the community aspect of I think what we're doing more so, where on Sunday we were at a farmer's market up in Beacon, New York, and everything going on with all of the or the withholding of the SNAP benefits earlier this month,
Right.
and everything like that. A lot of the farmers markets, the community of farmers markets is just like, it is so strong and so woven that it's just like, it feels incredible to be a part of them, honestly.
It's
And
beautiful.
so they every market that we're part of, and we're a part of 7 farmers markets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're at a lot, but all of them have done work in some sort of way to kind of try to give some relief to people who are SNAP members,
Yeah.
and whether it be, hand hand in 10 of your tokens and we'll double the money for farmers market food so that you still have access to fresh food. Stuff like that. So the Beacon Market was one of them, and we were going up the weekend when the SNAP benefits weren't being replenished. So we had some pasta, and we were like, let's just bring up extra pounds. We'll hand it out to people who are part of the program, and they could just come to our tent, say that they're part of the program. They don't need any other proof or anything like that. We give them a
Mhm.
pound of pasta. They're able to have dinner tonight,
Oh, nice.
and a nice dinner. And so we brought up like 20 pounds of pasta that day, and we handed them all out, and everyone was incredibly thankful. The market manager also was just like very touched, and
That's
it's
so
the
nice.
it's also like the least we could do, you know. It's been tough to navigate this time because like we're still a small business, and I need to be conscious of that. And, our spending, everything is very tight, like that's no
Yeah.
secret. And also we're going into our busy season. We're a really small staff. So it's just like, just being mindful of all of that. But also trying to help where we can. That was the goal of handing out that pasta. And so we handed it all out. That was 2 weeks ago. On this past Sunday, I was there, and one of the people that came up 2 weeks ago came over and just told me. She actually was crying. It was really sweet. I might
Oh my
cry
God.
actually.
Oh,
But she was just
feel
like
free to
she was
cry.
just
I'll
like
cry too.
she was like, "We're in it together."
Yeah.
But she was just like, "I just want you to know what you did the other week. It was just so thoughtful and it meant so much." And, I was able to cook my son and I this beautiful pasta dinner on a Sunday night. And
Wonderful.
her son was like, Mom, how are we able to do this tonight? Like, this doesn't seem like we can't afford this. And she was just like, the market blessed us. And it was just like, oh, and she started crying. And it was just like
Oh,
that. And she came over and gave me a giant hug and thanked me. And I mean, this is so besides the point, but then on a business end, she bought 2 pounds of pasta that day
wow.
with her tokens. And it's like,
Oh, wow.
that's like so like it's not like I was doing this to make any sort of
Of
money, but
course.
it's
Yeah.
just like the fact that it was like so it was none of that was transactional. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
all
It was
done based
genuine,
off of like
genuine and
connection. Yeah,
generous.
exactly. And just like, and trying to help a community that if we needed help and they were able, and and she has means to buy our stuff if we were in need, she would also do that. And
Yeah.
it was just so beautiful. It was such a nice experience of just like, wow, this is the community aspect of this whole thing that like I'm striving for, and
Mhm.
and I just want to continue. And it's like, I think, darker times shows light, and I think that's what's happening right now. But like, just in a broad sense, like this is also what we're kind of trying, always hoping to achieve.
Yeah, oh, I absolutely love that story, and
I
if
know.
like, this is the definition of humanity,
Yeah,
and,
it was
like
just like, it felt so good.
and, like, I feel like what goes around comes around, right? Like, you know that she would, at this point, surely do the same to you because you
Exactly.
genuinely offered her something to help when she was in need, and
Yeah.
just hearing her son and how much that meant to them as, you know, as a family, and they didn't have to worry, and they could just enjoy something nice, and that's the best gift you could give someone, especially when it's nourishing you, that's just so
Exactly. It was a
beautiful.
hug, and
Yeah,
that's what they needed that night.
they
And
needed that.
it also just like, I was so grateful that she came back and shared that experience with me, because
Yeah,
so much of when you're dealing with food, it's just kind of one-sided where, you hand it off to that next person and you don't really ever like, sure, there's repeat customers and stuff like that, but you don't always hear about the experience they had with
Yeah.
this stuff that you're making and you have so much, like, care and devotion for, and the fact that she came out of her day to just, like, share that story too was just, like, also really touching. Like, I it was really touching.
Well, I'm sure, like, that's why you do what you do, like, that it means everything to
Yeah.
actually understand how that affected another person on a
Yeah.
deep level. Oh, that's so
Exactly,
nice.
exactly. It was so much more than just, like, handing someone some pasta, you know?
Yeah. That's
So,
I love it so much, and,
thanks.
at this stage, it seems like you're like we are saying, you're getting your stride, you're going to the busy season, you still have a small staff, so you're still really hands-on, but, it seems like the energy and the passion and devotion for what you do is just, like, more lively than ever, which is so cool to sense
Yeah.
from you in our conversation. So my last question, I'm just wondering, in this next chapter and the way things will continue forward, are there any specifics that you're most, like, inspired to do or energized by the thought of focusing on something different? Just curious about, like, what you're looking forward to in this next chapter.
So, yes, this what I'm about to say is, like, it has less to do with me and with flowers, but more to do about Havistraw, and I And I think it's like, I'm also what I'm about to say is definitely gonna be a challenge because people have been trying to revitalize Havistraw for about some years now, over a decade, and it's slowly getting to a place, but I think because I feel like flowers is I'm still, so involved in the spot, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that a year ago would stress me out and I would be so nervous about and not know what to do. Like those stresses are no longer stresses and they're just like a part of our routine and our daily life kind of deal. So I
Cool.
feel like I have a bit more wiggle room or I have a little bit of space on my plate that I want to fill. And I really would like to focus on, um, spending some time and energy on Havistraw in as a village,
That's awesome.
and really trying to make it a place that people, tourists, travelers, locals, but not super local will come here and have like it has a bad it ha the Havistraw has a bad rep, and, and it's a little frustrating, and yes, I can say that I'm doing it selfishly to impact our business, but it overall is just to kind of just like breathe life into a place that has so much potential, but it's so stagnant.
Mhm.
And whether it be helping other small businesses looking at these properties that are up for rent and trying to like start a small business coalition in town and really just um I would like others to see how vibrant and special Havistraw is. And, because there was a reason why this place I mean, it's if you were dropped into Havistraw, like, Megan, if you were, like, just dropped here, you would be like, "Oh, am I in Queens? Like, am I in Brooklyn?" Like, it's walkable, it's urban, it's
That's awesome.
diverse, it's like it has everything that can make it into, like, a cultural, beautiful hub, and it's just not there, and I would like to help it get there.
Yeah.
So, that's definitely something that, like, I wanna spend some time with. I'm already part of a few of, like, the Havistraw committees and stuff like that, like,
Oh, nice.
rebranding committees and, like yeah, like, just to try to move it to the next chapter, you know? And,
Mhm.
so, yeah, so that's definitely something that is top of mind, and I know I will run into challenges just because it's not just me putting things out there. It's like, working with a team of people and working with a
Yeah.
town. And I know that there are going to be some challenges, but let's go, you
Let's
know?
go. Maybe it'll
Let's
be
go.
difficult and maybe it won't happen right away, but I think Haverstraw is lucky to have someone like you who sees that potential and you care about actually revitalizing and breathing, like you said, breathing life into such a cool place that
Yeah.
um, you've been face to face with the locals from the shop, and it seems like you can see the heart of
Mhm.
what the village has to offer. So that's just so great that it's just another piece of your community building
Yeah.
and another thing to work on. So
I-
you'll be busy,
Yeah.
but
Let's
it's
hope
a
so.
good.
Yeah.
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 Well, thank you so much for, walking through everything. I loved hearing more details about how you got to
Thanks.
this place and just congratulations. Seriously, I'm so proud knowing you from college and seeing where you're at. It's just makes me so happy that you're doing something so meaningful and beautiful and
Oh,
honoring your family and just being completely you. You're the Sophia I know. So I love seeing it.
thanks. Thanks, Muse.
Yeah.
This was awesome. And yeah. And I hope other people enjoy hearing about it, but, like, it's so nice to just, like, yeah, just to tell the story and just every so often have, like, a quiet moment of just being like, "Yeah, like, you can be proud of this." Like, and
Oh,
this
you
is
can
right
so
now.
be proud. Yes, right now, be
This is
proud.
right now. Yeah, it feels really
And
good, so
I
thanks.
will definitely be in. I for sure want to go in there, and I recommend any listeners to check out Flowers and enjoy some delicious food.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
All right. Well,
you.
thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Alright, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.